Hi everyone, Andrew here for ABELI Reviews, and today we are testing out Jump Ship. It's a new game that's going to be coming out, I think, this summer, summer of 2025. Right now we are playing the demo, which is pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and dive in now. Let's enter my hangar. Yeah, we can skip the prologue. We don't need it. Well, probably we do, but either way, that's fine. Like I said, this is the demo. So it is probably going to be limited, and definitely the game is not out quite yet. So it's going to have some bugs, and probably the end game will be different. But pretty cool. It's basically, if you ever heard of the video game Sea of Thieves, which initially launched on the Xbox, I think it's also on PC now as well, where you're like a pirate and you can kind of go around in these like different instances, and you can have a crew and you basically mine a ship. That's this game, but in space. Isn't that fun? I would say it's kind of a slight roguelike, where kind of every time you play it sort of starts over to a certain extent, but some things remain, like my ship over here. I'm only at like, I think level 1, so I don't really have that much more for my ship, but that is my ship. I'm kind of at like the home base area. One fun part is you have a grappling hook. We'll kind of bounce around and try different things, but that's kind of cool. There doesn't seem to be any fall damage, so yay. From there, they've got this sort of little like learning area here, so you can go try out all the various guns. I'm not sure if this will be part of the just like the base game, or if that's something that they just put in for the demo so people could try stuff. But you know, here we are. We got an assault rifle, submachine gun, which I just shot, shotguns, plenty of ammo, sniper rifles, your standard affair. But that's enough about the shooting, because that's not what we're really here for, although I think that is kind of a reasonably fun thing to do in this game. Let's get into our ship. And the way it kind of works is sort of interesting. It doesn't fully really make a lot of sense to me how they have you manage it in this little area. I think it would have made more sense over there. But if you want to manage your ship after you get back from a mission, you have like all your ship's parts, like your reactor, your generator, your engine, and you can like swap things around and such. Kind of feels silly to me, but whatever, doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and find a mission. And that's sort of how this game works. You have this sort of galaxy here, or system, and from there you sort of choose different missions, and you're kind of like a space pirate of sorts. But I think the overall story is you're actually like a displaced person, because there's robots that have taken over. Very timely. In any case, this is where I can pick different missions. So it's not quite open world, right, where you just like travel about. You sort of go into instances, and that's probably how they're able to load the things they do, as I kind of give you an example. Let's find something simple. Perfect. So that's trivial. Love it. So I'm actually playing by myself, but this game is properly played with friends. So we may struggle to do some of the stuff, or it may take me longer to complete certain things, but I'll kind of give you an idea of why this is such a great game to play with your friends. And the reason for that is you're manning a ship, right? So if your ship gets boarded, if your ship needs repairs while you're in the middle of combat, you can't really fight and repair at the same time. So that's where having friends and turrets and all these other things kind of come into play. So pretty cool, neat mechanic, fun idea for a game. I'm now on my ship, and I'm sort of in space right now. I'm in like an area it's all about. We can kind of head out. I can use an ejection tube. I'll show the ship in a second. Why don't we just pop outside to kind of give everybody an example. So let's open the airlock and pop outside. Okay, great. It's a beautiful looking game. Everything looks stunning and it plays very well. But we are kind of out here in space, and I'm on this like little platform with my booties. So that's how I don't fly into space, but I can like jump away. And now I'm out here floating in space and do a barrel roll, spin around with my little jetpack and all that stuff. But this is my ship. Hope you don't get motion sickness. Sorry for anybody that does. Try not to do that again. But this is my ship here, and you have these little things that say Mark F. I'm using a keyboard and mouse right now, but you can play this with a controller. They have a grappling hook, which you can kind of like grab in, and now I'm back on. You can see, here's one of our rail guns, or our turrets on our ship. You can see into the cockpit. You can even like kind of manage certain things, like there's a sensor, blah, blah, blah. You can like detach stuff and then swap them out. So if you find a different type of upgrade for your ship that you stole from a different spaceship. Oh, this is really cool. Sorry to interrupt myself, but so we're on the sort of, let's say the top of our ship. We can, because we have mag boots and there's really no up in space, I can loop down. Now I'm on the belly of the ship, but for me it's upright. So that's pretty cool. A little trippy at first. Kind of gives you... Oh, can we close this window here? Probably on the other side. But anywho, gets a little funny. Let's boss jump away. And you even have like a boost pack. So I've now turned on my jetpack and I can do that. Whoop, whoop. And we slowed down. Let's boost over here, get back to the ship. So it's really quite neat what they've managed to do. Hope you didn't get dizzy on that. Let's go check out the ship and then we'll kind of get into some fun. Open the airlock. Open the airlock. Excellent. Okay, so we were in the cockpit. This is where the pilot can sit and anybody can fly the plane. It's pretty, or the ship, it's pretty arcadey. If you've seen like Elite Dangerous on this channel, you'll know that's a bit more intense. This is really quite simple for just about anybody to do. You even have like cruise control where it can go off, you can go left, you can go right, all that good stuff, and it's pretty straightforward. And you can shoot even as a standard pilot. There's also turrets, which would be controlled by a gunner. Let's pop off of this. You also have like another jump seat. So if we go into jumps, everyone needs to be safely seated. Here's another one. There's a sensor display, so you can like scan what's around you. Right now, nothing is really here, so it's pretty basic. Back here is one of the turrets. So now I'm on one of the turrets, but they're unpowered for whatever reasons. We'll go fix that, which is a whole other thing. If we go up more, we kind of came to where we were. You can like jetpack out. That's kind of fun for emergencies. And that's on both sides of the ship. If we go down, we can now see sort of our power grid. And this is kind of interesting. So the way the ship works, or the way this game kind of manages power, is you have this massive wall here. And depending on the size of your main reactor, which apparently we have a split reactor, because you can see there's these green squares here, and then emptiness, and then squares over here. That's how much our reactor can control. So I can see there's a pulse engine, frag cannon, sensors like I referenced, jump drive, and then a special weapon, a lance railgun or whatever. That's it. That's what my ship can have. But I have other things I can put on there too. So I could like take this off. I could put this turret on. Perfect. So now my turrets are powered, or whatever, right? So if you get different things, you can kind of upgrade your ship any way you would like. So that's kind of neat, and the management's pretty straightforward. You pull things off of it. You can see these things with red outlines no longer powered. This stuff is like we pulled everything off. I would suspect the ship would probably go dark or something. Let's see if it lets me even control it. Engines unpowered. Yeah, we're pretty much sitting there. Anyways, that's kind of fun. So that's another thing you have to kind of maintain. You can imagine if something goes south for you, you would be able to sort of deal with it that way. All right, let's put this stuff back. Boop. Boop. And let's put him there. And it looks like I can either have my assault turrets or the lance railgun, but it does not appear that I can do both, which ain't that a kick in the teeth. That's okay. We won't really stress that too much. Let's keep looking at the rest of the ship. You can go in the vents. Why would you do that? Because maybe something blew up in here and you need to fix it, repair it, all those good things. So we're kind of looking around in here. We were just right there for reference. We came down these stairs. In here is kind of like the core engine. Hello, little computer. This is how you can like upgrade the ship or repair it. Over here is another sensor display, so people can kind of check them all over the place. As we continue going further down, it's a pretty big ship. This is if you like 3D print or get materials and stuff, you can drop stuff down into here. This is a trash compactor, so if you find garbage and junk, you can convert it into like materials. Another vent. And then this is your 3D printer. So this can make stuff like mini turrets, assault turrets, all kinds of nonsensical stuff. This is ammo, so it's the ammo loader. That's where all the bullets go. So when your ship needs more bullets, you make more. Kind of the crew quarters. Kind of cute. Hi, friend. Whatever. We'll go down in a second. Then there's like the med bay. I think if you need to be like rested and stuff like that, you've got those options. Crew quarters. You can get more health. Fire extinguishers, because fires happen. The toilet. Over here, as we kind of go around, just more stuff, more windows. Yeah, look at that. We can look out and be very serene. How lovely. Lovely. Again, more vents, because there could be fire all over the place. Let's go down another level. Now we are in the airlock, so that's another way you can go out into the ship. So yeah, It's really funny though, when you like move the ship around and people are in here and they're looking out the windows, it gets kind of intense because the ship can fly very quickly. In any case, this is our jump map. So if we go to it, we basically have like two choices. We have a sort of big fight that's coming up at the end. We have to go through two different choices. This is us right now in empty space. We can either go to this shipwreck where a hostile outpost exists, or this debris field where a hostile outpost exists. So shipwreck, debris field, shipwreck, debris field. And they basically say Legion signatures are detected. Those are the bad guys. Both are probably pretty straightforward, but they're just different instances. Once you complete that, you get on to the next thing, which is a major sort of mission objective, and then you return to hangar. So that's kind of the gameplay loop. So let's pick one. Let's do shipwreck. Will be fun. All right, so now we need to perform the jump. So let's pop into the seat, align the ship with where we're jumping. Oh, we're gonna go straight to the planet. Lovely. All right, I'm holding the jump drive. Everyone needs to get in their seat. They have time. And boom. Perfect. Straight through it. Holdo maneuver. All right. So you have sort of this like staging area, which is sort of weird to me. Maybe there should be stuff that's happening in those, but whatever. Now we are here. We're at the shipwreck.
I detect a jamming signal emanating.
All right, so there's a jamming signal. So now this has got its own little mission. And what I'm not quite sure of yet, because this is sort of my first or second time playing, we need to disable the jammer. I can see over there, there's some enemies. And because it's just me right now, it's not super easy to do all this stuff. But if we open up our sensor array, we can see all this stuff. We can then kind of see who's in the area. Let's hold a scan here for that unknown signature. Ooh, there's a gunship out there, weak fighters. So we're in like a massive ship that must have kind of blown up. What I'm not sure of is how sneaky you can go into this stuff. Like, for instance, I could pop out and I could just like fly there. So I'm gonna launch out. But do I really want to do that? Because then I don't have my ship with me. So there may be a reason to not do something like that. So we're gonna go back to the ship and fight them normally. But I got a little robot buddy here because it's just me playing, so that's kind of fun. Let's loop back to the ship. Yeah, let me in. Let's do a standard space combat. I'll show you that instead. I still get a little lost in here every now and then, but we run up the stairs, all the way up the stairs, take a left. There we are. All right, let's give him a fight. So we're gonna boost over. Dual barrel roll. It says everybody's out of range right now. Looks like those are turrets. We probably don't want to mess with those. Right. So I suppose cruise control would be kind of nice for when we're trying to like just attack stuff, or we don't have that same speed. We'll go ahead and go there. Nice. Somebody's right there. I see you. You're 1.6 kilometers. Coming to you. Marked. He's 1 kilometer out. We got him. Nice. All right, my robot's on the turrets now, which is where a person could be, which is pretty cool. So I can use like kind of the pilot gun, and then the robot will control the rest. Sorry, I'm not a great pilot yet on this game. It's a little different than what I'm used to. I'm also using a mouse and keyboard, which I think a controller would make more sense for flight. But you know, your mileage may vary. All right, who do we got next? Let's get this guy. I see you. This is one of those things where, like, if you had a crew, you could then, you know, work together, and different people are manning the guns, or people are manning the shields, or putting power towards things. All right. So we need to disable something. Okay, so I'm gonna pop out of this. I'm gonna check this thing out. Hop out here. Oh, you get so lost in this ship. It's so big. It's right there. Open the door. And we need to go over there.
Never fret, buddy's right behind you.
All right, what are we doing here?
forces detected.
Uh-oh. Hostile forces are on the oh, there must be people here. Okay, let's finish our mission real quick. All right, we're gonna hold to activate. So I'm using my laser cannon on this or some sort of thing. Perfect. Dammer is down. Let's go find these guys.
Have at you, Legion scum.
That's funny. You must have found somebody. Gotcha.
Area secured. No more targets.
Excellent. So we gotta blow this stuff up. That's a new one.
Exterminate all Legion trash.
So yeah, there's like a, basically this is kind of the loop, right? You have space kind of shooting and cowboying up, and then you have using your pilot. So yeah, but in any case, I think it's an interesting game. It's actually really fun with other people, and I have had a chance to play with other people, and that's been really neat. The first time I did it, we kind of ran around. Look at these little things. Ah, two of them. All right, let's keep looking. Maybe there's some extra material or something here I can use.
Time to take out the trash.
So far, nothing. Oof. A lot of baddies, though.
Worry about.
That's a teammate. Sorry, buddy. I don't like this little pistol. One thing I did notice about the game, and I think they need to address this, you can get other weapons, and you'll find them throughout the missions, but what's weird is they never stay with you. You always have to start with this like pistol and find stuff,
We'll give them no
which I think is a major swing and a miss. Like if the ship's going to be able to be customized and stick around, so should the crew. All right, we need to blow something up. So we're going to go here, activate this.
Self-destruction sequence initiated.
Perfect. Oh shoot, we gotta go. Where's my ship at? Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, so like I said, it's still beta. Our ship's somewhere.
Drive jammer disabled. You can now proceed to the next
Wow, we did not do that very well because the whole place blew up while we were here, but whatever, who cares? The demo. All right, so we disabled the jammer. That must mean we can now go do something else. Oh, well, hold on now. So that is the loot we've been trying to get for these gosh darn missions. So let's go check that out. Let's go here. Plenty of loot. Okay. This is the material you use. So let's pick that up. See that these are guns. So now we have a gun, which is kind of neat. And what's this guy here? Got some scrap. Just another sniper? It's a railgun. I will replace and I'll take a railgun. That looks fun. Okay, we're good. Who cares? So yeah, like I was saying, like notice how we just found this really neat railgun. You don't get to keep it. You only get it for this mission, which I can't imagine that's an actual like choice. That has to be just for the demo. If it is, I can't really see this game being a thing that I'm gonna play for a long time. But if I could sit here and work up my own arsenal and my own weapons, you betcha. This would be a lot of fun. But if they think they can like call this a roguelike, that's wrong. That's silly. That's not an accurate description at all. Especially when like your ship can be upgraded and all that good stuff. It would be almost silly. But aside from that, I do think this is a really interesting game. Let's go ahead and destroy some stuff. So we got some materials. That then gives us stuff we can spend material points on. If we go over here, we can now build things if I suppose wanted to. But I would say the other sort of interesting complaints I have for this game is just the use of material. They don't really give you enough. And upgrading and leveling up is really slow. They've definitely like either, my assumption is either A, there's not that much content yet, and they basically have to artificially kind of scale it back, where the proper game loop is still pretty basic. Gotcha. Especially for how arcadey it is, I think to say this is a like roguelike kind of feels silly to me. But again, pretty cool concept. I just think it needs to have better refined systems for that proper game loop, and like better incentives for why you would continue to keep playing and, you know, spend your time on it. But yeah, so we defeated some of those things. Now we got to jump to the next sector when we are ready. So what that means is we would go here and say, where do we want to go next? Well, here, right? Because this is the last spot. So we're going to set that as our destination. We are going to line up here and hit C to jump. Path is blocked. That's funny. It was blocked before by a planet, but whatever. What do I know? So let's get around this thing. Cool looking ship. I like the way it looks. It looks pretty fancy. Nice art style. Here we go. Everyone's seated. And boom. So I'm playing a fairly basic mission, and it's just me. I really can't stress enough how much this game really should be played with friends, like a full crew. It truly shines. All the little complaints I have are still just complaints, but like the overall game looks great, plays quite well, and when you play with friends, it's really quite fun. I would say very similar to how Sea of Thieves kind of works, where it is really fun. Again, for me, I think the non-permanent nature of so much of its systems, though, I'll never make this a proper like stay in my game. It would be an event type game, like where Sea of Thieves, like, oh, you got a friend over, maybe let's try this. But it's not something I would go to every day. It doesn't have that kind of staying power until the mechanics actually have staying power too. But again, cool game, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are like, oh, this is exactly what I want. So yeah, anywho, let's see what we got to do here. We are searching for salvage and salvaging 2 ships. All right, who cares? We hit something, doesn't really matter. We got one right here. That's a couple bad guys in space. Let's get them. Out of range. No more. Pew, pew, pew. Got you. Nice job. I might just fly and let the robot take them out. Nah, we gotta help her.
Ship needs ammo. Build ship ammunition in the assembler.
Oh, shoot, no ammo. Okay, well, hold on. You do your thing. This is actually kind of neat. So you can see how the ship is taking hits.
You know just what a core wants.
And everything's kind of going to crap.
Ship ammo.
Yeah, I know, you need ship ammo. I get lost in this place. So I go down here. I would then have to go to utility, make ship ammo. Oh, we can only make one? Hilarious. Okay. Ship ammo, so then we load it in. Let's make another. Ship ammo.
Taking out the trash.
And put it in. So you can now see there's a fire on the deck. So what we would want to do is grab a fire extinguisher, which they usually are right up here. There we go. Oof, that like grab distance. There we are. So now let's put the fire out. That's one. See, but we're taking hits, which is kind of cool. But you can imagine if you have a crew, you've got one person like, oh, I'm manning the guns, and then another person's out here trying to put out fires. Looks like there's one down there. Perfect. Let's go put it out. Oh, before it spreads. There we are. And I think there was one more fire. The robot will help you, which is kind of nice, but it's really not enough. You do need a full crew of folks. Let's pop in here. Did we get everybody? Nice job, robot. You were really fighting them all, huh? Let's see here. I think I was supposed to go somewhere. 8 kilometers, right there. Let's move a little closer to this ship. We'll boost over. And let's sort of board this thing and see what's what. All right. We're gonna head outside. Oh boy, things are not looking good. Maybe we just close that for now. Pretend it's not a problem. All right, so we pop up here. Nice, they got a hook for us. We open the thing, load that instance. Hello. You know what? I think we should try this new gun out.
I'm with you. The bitter end if need be.
Well, this might take a little bit. Oh, I see. Okay, so you hold it. And then... Gotcha. Nice. So we open this for supplies. Another railgun. I love it. Let's send a ship.
Bringing
Nice.
it back to the ship.
Oh, thank you, little robot.
Looks like it's time to die.
Gotcha. Oh, she's back. Good deal. This must be what we're here to get. Okay. I think we can probably use this. Pick that up.
Get that back to the ship. They
Oh,
can't
nice.
anymore.
Send that to ship too. It's a med thing.
I'll fetch that for you.
And that's a material ammo. Send to ship also.
No problem at all.
Oh, she can send everything but the one thing I want. Okay, well, whatever. So we got to run this little bit of cargo back. And then we're going to head back to our ship. Ooh. There is one nice thing. You don't have to take it all the way down. When you kind of go to these doors here, there's like cargo things. So we send that down. Boom. So that's one.
Ship and keep searching.
And our next one is probably over there somewhere. I would assume there's not two on that space. Salvage on ship. Let's check real quick just to be safe. I don't want to have to run back here again. All right, so we're checking here.
Joining the on-foot expedition.
Anybody else here? Not really. This seems like this was the whole thing in this area. Yeah, okay, good. Those are all empty. So now we go to the next ship, or I guess broken spot, and salvage some more. Open the airlock door. Open the airlock door. Our ship is looking a little worse for wear, so let's see if we actually make it. Alrighty, boost away. Here we go. I still think it'd be nice if I can do some stealthy stuff. I think they would see me though, even if I floated over just as me. So that's a whole other discussion. Take this. Ship under attack, that's one. Got you. There's another. Low core health. Oh, this is exciting. We might actually blow up. All right, who do we got left?
Not to boast, but did you see that?
And then these guys. We see you.
The ship needs ammo.
Low,
Ship
but not
ammunition
out.
in the assembler.
That's fine. We only have like one more guy left. All right, let's get him.
That one was for you, Iris.
You know just what a core wants, buddy. Nice shot.
Okay. I think that's probably all that's here, so we probably don't need to worry too much about the ship.
Purging the materia filters.
All right. Let's check this little thing. You stay here, ship. Yep, she's definitely a little worse for wear, but that's okay. All right, open the door. Again, like the game runs really smooth. Excellent work. Here we go. Let's go this way. Pull out our cool gun. Oh yeah, gotta open the door. I think that's kind of weak, but whatever. What do we got here? Something on the ground. Nice stuff.
Joining the on-foot expedition.
I see you. Out of ammo. All right, nice.
Legion trash.
Okay, let's continue our adventure.
One less to worry about.
Looks like our thing we need is probably up there, so let's just do the loop. Little spider robots with their little canisters of fire. No, thank you. All right, what do we got in this? Excellent. You know what? I'm just gonna replace this guy. And let's take this. All right, take it back to our ship. That's pretty fun, I will say. Quite a thing. Don't like how I'm now like stuck on the wrong side. Let's loop. Hold on to your breath. There we go. Pop up here. Drop that in.
That's the last one.
Perfect.
Got what we need. Time to go.
And now we can leave. And that essentially, and then they so for I should probably reference, like we've just been in space. There's like some on foot missions too that are like on planets and stuff, and you can like sneak around, and there's all that kind of good stuff. So it's not just this, but that is essentially the loop, right? You kind of go to a thing, pick a mission, go to a staging environment. From there, you kind of make your choice. Which way do you want to go? It's going to have various difficulty levels based on probably your level, based on how far into the system you are, blah, blah, blah. You get some stuff, it upgrades your ship, and you either complete it or you don't. And that's your loop over and over and over again. See, now we're back at the hangar. And now if you'll notice, none of the weapons or the things I had came with me. Major swing and a miss. But we now have some additional credits. And as you can see, kind of in the bottom left corner, there's 485. Those are essentially things you use to upgrade. But look at the upgrade cost for nearly all of this stuff. Like, nothing is cheap. And we're literally at the start of the game. They really, really need to have a better, like, reward system for as you play missions, because it's kind of trash. That just the balance isn't great. But again, great. The underlying game, excellent, super cool. I just don't see it having any staying power, at least for me. There's going to be many people out there that are going to love it, and I hate to dog on it, but I don't think this is going to be something I would play in its current state. But I do enjoy the idea of this. So if they can continue to refine their gameplay, they've got a heck of a system here, and I think it's just absolutely delightful. It looks great. Kind of gives me Borderlands vibes a little bit if you remove like the cell shading. Excellent engine. Like, the team should feel very, very proud of their work, and I'm super impressed. Again, though, it's just there were some, I would say, design choices or that just don't really mesh with my particular play style. But I'm sure there's a huge audience out there that are seeing this and are like, "You're crazy. This is great." In any case, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm looking forward to following this game. I've had it on my wish list for quite a while now. So I hope to follow them and see where they take it from here. Otherwise, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.